Hey guys, welcome to the Movie Goers podcast. My name is Jordan. You can find me on all socials at Jordy B Writing.
My name's Darius. D's all up in the area on all socials.
And we'll be reviewing Silver Linings Playbook. This movie came out in 2012, starring Bradley Cooper, Jennifer Lawrence, Robert De Niro, Jackie Weaver, Chris Tucker, Julia Stiles, and Anupam Kher. Silver Linings Playbook is about a mental institution stay where bipolar Pat moves back home, determined to win back his estranged wife. His path intertwines with Tiffany, a troubled widow, when she offers to help him if he partners with her in a dance competition. Their unconventional bond blossoms amidst family chaos and shared vulnerabilities. So I'll toss it back to you for why we chose this movie.
We picked this movie because we think Bradley Cooper is one of the better actors out there, and he doesn't really, he isn't really brought up when people list their favorite actors. So it's a kind of a way to show him a little love and check out a movie that we enjoy. We'll pop it off with Act One. The Re-Entry and the Reckoning. Pat Salatano Jr., newly released from a mental institution for bipolar disorder, returns home obsessed with reconciling with his estranged wife. His well-meaning but overbearing family struggles to manage his volatile moods and unrealistic expectations. Let me just say off the rip, that family was not overbearing. In fact, they were quite patient. Uh,
I
and my
think it's
first,
just ill-equipped.
yeah. Anyways, first observation off the bat is that we as a society need to bring back insane asylums. They worked. What are we doing here? Like just you don't ask crazy people if they're crazy. You just put them in fucking a straitjacket and put them in padded rooms and leave the rest of us to function as a normal society. So, I'm gonna throw it to you for your first observation and or question.
So my first observation, well, I got a couple, I guess, but my first one is that in this movie, Chris Tucker is in this movie for all of
Yes,
like 7 minutes, and
steals
he
every
just
scene.
steals every scene that he's in. And I just love the running gag of him like basically lying and sneaking out of the home or out of the hospital, the mental hospital, to be like, "Yeah, I'm free, y'all," and they just come scoop him up
Yeah,
like nothing happened.
there's a new loophole every time he comes in. Like,
Yeah, it's
actually,
like
they
no,
say if your cousin comes and he signs off on this, da
right.
da da da. Yeah, that was great.
And then so what had happened was because there was a stay and that there was that law, that
Yeah.
code of law, Exhibit 2, where it says that if you want to go, then you just go.
Yeah. They can't hold you for more than 72 hours if you like bananas. And like I love
Right,
bananas.
right. And look at my haircut. It's fresh. Like
How can I be crazy when I went and got my haircut? It's fine.
right. And
Uh,
that's the problem.
Chris Tucker, another one who does not get his due because he started out with comedy, started out silly, but he's a
Yeah,
fantastic dramatic actor. He was in
he
the
is.
Michael Jordan movie a couple years ago. Was really good in that
Air.
movie.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
was really
yeah.
good. He
I
was
call it
great in
Michael
Dead
Jordan
Poets
movie, and
Society.
Michael Jordan isn't even a damn movie. Uh, the air, yeah, the movie about the sneaker
Yeah,
Jordans. So,
yeah. He was great in what's the one? Dead Presidents.
yep,
He was
yep,
amazing in that movie. Oh yeah, so he comes back home. Bradley Cooper's character comes home from the mental hospital institution, and he's staying back with his parents, kind of get himself back on his feet. And you kind of see, you can sort of tell where his issues come from, like at least
yeah,
the root of his issues. I think. Well, first of all, we all know a lot of mental health is usually brought on by trauma
yeah.
or and/or genetics. I would wager to say it came from his father's side of the family.
The movie, the movie's really good at. I mean, you could tell that like Bradley Cooper's character is gone, but like you can see the symptoms in his like other people around him without
Shit, hold on.
with
I'm losing you.
you're losing me. Can you hear me?
Say one, two, three.
One, two, three.
Can you say one, two, three?
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
saying
yeah, I
one, two,
got you.
three. Um,
Okay, one, two, three. Cool, cool, cool.
that was late. You want to? Okay, so what are we? Can you
Yeah,
hear
let
me?
me. Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right, one, two, three.
One, two, three.
It's like a 10 second. Well, about 5 seconds there.
Okay, I think something happened. I think it might have gotten fixed. One, two, three.
One, two, three.
I heard you.
Okay, it's a little delayed, but we'll power through.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Um,
Where do you want? How you want to come back in?
Okay, so I was saying that clearly this issue stemmed from his father, I would say, and then you were about
Mm.
to say something, then it cut out.
All right, so we'll start over with trauma can either be genetic or from or sorry, mental issues can either be from trauma or genetics. So counting on the three and start that point over.
Yeah.
All right.
So I know from personal experience and also just everything I've kind of read and studied over the years is that mental health issues either stem are rooted in trauma or passed down by genetics. And I'd wager to say that the root of that or a stem of his Pat's mental issues come from his father.
Yeah.
You just kind of notice how obsessive he is about like the remote controls when he's watching the games. He's irrationally superstitious, which I mean I don't know that's kind of a redundancy, but it's like a different level with him, and you just kind of see that some of the behaviors throughout the movie, and it's like even the way he kind of reacts emotionally to certain things, and I'm sure, and as you get older, you get more refined in your behaviors. So I'd imagine when Pat was growing up, his father was probably on some other shit.
Yeah.
So I'd wager to say that his father was a big cause of his mental state.
I imagine so. Both and then, like it becomes a chicken or egg thing. Like not only does he share
Right.
genetics with his father, but the environment his father
You're around
created
him. Yep.
creates trauma. Right? So it's
Right.
like it'd be bad enough if it was a stranger creating this hostile environment, but now you're sharing the genetic pool that makes that stranger be hostile.
Right.
And so it's a compound effect. And then he walks in on his wife having an affair in the most
Anybody would lose their shit.
graphic way possible. Like it's one thing to hear
The
it and
worst
know it,
way.
but see it and read it. Sorry, it's one thing to hear it, read it, know it, but then to see it in such, graphic. I mean, they were butt ass naked.
Hmm.
But I imagine she was
Listening to
doing
your
that
wedding
because he
song.
was crazy. I mean, who the fuck has sex to Stevie Wonder?
That is crazy. He don't
I
got
should
one
be
song where
more.
you need to be doing that.
Like no, nah, he don't have not one sexy time song. Some music nerds are gonna listen to this and be like, track 19 and
You know,
so it's this song in 1974. It's like, all right, the
it's
hits.
like
He doesn't have any
I
sex hits.
yeah. I don't think anyone's ever gotten it on to Superstitious. That's just
No,
me.
I should be a more beautiful song, lovely song.
Yeah, beautiful song.
But just not. Did you, what? Like, I don't know. It just did the Spotify swing that one on there? Y'all using
Right,
Pandemic
like
for the auto
what?
suggestions? Yeah. So I agree wholeheartedly. And then I mean, then you compound that with him finding his wife in that predicament, and I don't think it was
Hmm.
ever explicitly said, but he beat this dude damn near to death, right?
Yeah, he beat the shit out the dude. Yeah.
Well, that's what happens when he didn't hit her, so we're not excusing. You're
Right.
not, you, when you sleep with a man's wife, you kind of
What are
assume
you
the
gonna do?
consequences that could come with that.
Yeah, you gotta be prepared for whatever comes with that.
Niggas have died for less, so
Right. Thank you, Nick. Exactly.
it
People have
is what
died
it
for shit
is.
they've said to people's wives before. Not that
Correct.
that's okay, but that's just a reality.
I mean, you're sleeping with this man's wife in his crib,
In his house.
and he walks in on you butt naked, and you got something smart to say.
Right, and you got something smart to say? He was asking for that.
You
He was
lucky
asking for
you
that ass
didn't
whooping.
die that day, man. Like, no
Yeah,
apologies. You got something slick to say? All right, man.
right. And this dude is not mentally stable. I don't know what you were thinking. I mean, I know what you were
I
thinking, but
know what you're thinking.
we
But
know what he was thinking with.
yeah, neither here nor there.
Yeah. Also, that therapist was out of pocket for playing that song in the waiting room
He
before he
didn't.
went into
He,
the
he didn't know.
session.
I doubt he knew that. Did he? Did he admit to knowing that?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Oh, well, shit. That is out of pocket. That's terrible.
That's wild.
I mean, it's not exactly an esoteric song, but it's still
Right.
pretty insane. I mean, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. I did think that was interesting though. I liked that the specificity of the trigger.
Yeah,
Because like we think about certain times in our lives or places or people, and you instantly think of like a place or a song or a sound or a smell. So I thought that was really cool how they incorporated the sense how senses play into kind of trauma and heartbreak and things of that nature. I thought that was really detailed writing.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. Um, it's not a coincidence that everyone's favorite music is the music they listen to in their formative years.
Right.
Every band and every rapper and every artist and every R&B such and such when you were 16 is the greatest you've ever heard. And that's not a
Hmm.
coincidence because those are the years that you were most carefree and you're having the most fun, and you go between 16 and we'll call it 23.
Yeah,
You get your license through you graduated college. Those are the years where you get to have the most fun and have the least amount of responsibilities. It's not a coincidence that that's the music that you love because it's a soundtrack to those great years. So makes
correct.
sense.
It's also why when black people hear Anita Baker, they think of cleaning the house.
Correct. Correct. That's a trauma response.
Right, facts.
Because man, I was in my Saturday morning chore was cleaning the bathroom, and I that shit was it was child abuse. I swear to God,
No,
I could not
same.
leave the house and go out with my friends until that bathroom was clean. And to this day, I fucking loathe cleaning the bathroom. Like I
Yeah,
will dead ass hire a cleaning service before I bust the suds in the bathroom. I'll wash dishes. I cook every day. I wash dishes. I vacuum, clean the
yeah.
crib, da 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 da.
Oh,
But
I always hated watching dishes. That was like for me, I'd be like, kill me, I'd rather die than wash dishes. As a kid,
yeah.
that was like, I hated washing dishes.
Did you have a
Uh,
dishwasher or were you busting suds?
yeah, we were hand washing them. Yeah, like we
Yeah.
could load the dishwasher, but you always gotta like basically pre-wash them anyway because they don't
Yeah.
get all the stuff that's caked on there off anyway. So it basically was just like, well, if it's not close to clean, you're gonna hand wash it anyway. So, you
We
know,
we so we didn't have a dishwasher, but
yeah,
the crib my parents moved into after I left has
mhm,
a dishwasher, and they still don't use it because they don't believe it gets the dishes as clean. And I had to
right,
explain to my parents that the way it works is that the dishwasher can steam at a higher temperature than your hands can stand. So it's going to be
right.
better at clean. They don't want to hear it. They're like, nah, I don't get them as
No,
clean as my
no, I
hands. I'm
don't get
like,
it. Yep, yep, yep. It
scientifically, yes, they do, because the steam in that dishwasher would melt your skin. You not understand what I'm saying, and heat kills germs. They don't want to hear it. It's just I don't know if it's an old black people thing, but they just don't believe it.
Yeah.
70, 60 years old, still busting suds by hand. Anyways, what else you got
Um,
for Act One?
okay, so for Act One, oh yeah, so one thing I love about this movie is, I mean, maybe it says something about me. I probably have some problems too, but I think this is some of the best dark humor you'll ever hear or see in a movie. Like,
Yeah, it definitely
um,
says something about you because I did not laugh at
yeah.
that.
Oh,
I only
really?
laughed when Chris Tucker popped
I
up and he kept
I
doing the
think
bit.
that's oh well, yeah, shit, I got problems then because I think this movie is hilarious. Like pretty much any conversation with like Bradley Cooper and any normal human being in the movie, which is pretty much everybody, I find to
Yeah.
be hilarious. Like because he's just so blunt
Yeah.
and he's not aware of how he's coming across.
Yeah.
It's like I find humor in a
I
lot
was
of the
gonna
irony.
actually, I caught a bleep. I'm not gonna say it, but I caught myself bleeping. Um, no, I hear you.
Like when he's on the jog and he sees a lady at the old school he used to work at,
Yeah,
and he's running because he's running, but she thinks he's running up to him like to
yeah.
attack her, and so she freaks out. And he's like, "Hey, look at me! I'm good. I'm healthy. I'm clear. Whatever." And he gives her a hug, and she's like, "Ah!" Like,
It was funny, man. I go for jogs. I'm very cognizant of like not sprinting behind women,
yeah,
especially if
same,
I'm
yeah,
jogging like at night. And like just to not be aware of that is crazy to me because like I will if I see like a woman alone jogging and then she's in my path, I will literally take the wide angle around just so I'm never out
right,
of her periphery, so she doesn't
right,
think
right, right.
because she doesn't know me. I'm fucking I could be like a serial killer. She doesn't know
Yeah,
me
yeah,
from
yeah, yeah,
Adam,
yeah,
right? And so like I'm always like I'm gonna take the wide path, so I'm always in her periphery, and then I'll pass her
yeah,
because she's slower than me. But it is just like just my give back is that like I wouldn't be in the wrong to just sprint behind her in a normal way, but like
right.
it's a way to
But you got to
you
be
know
aware of how you're coming
get aware of
across.
your surroundings and just be kind. Like if you can ease someone's nerves when you're because again she doesn't know me, especially if it's at night. Like sometimes I'll jog
Yeah, yeah.
at 7 o'clock at night and it's during normally it's dark at that time, so
Hmm.
just gotta be
Same.
aware.
Like if I'm walking behind some women at night, that sounds weird. But if women at night are ahead of me, like
No, you're
downtown or something like
downtown
that,
and like
yeah,
you're bar hopping or you're going from this spot to that spot or you're waiting for an Uber. You just
yeah.
like
Or
you have to
you're
be cognizant
like,
they don't know you. You not on that,
correct,
but they don't
correct.
know
Like,
you, and you just want to ease people's tension. Ease the tension
yeah,
in the room.
especially if it's like a side road. Like if I parked on a side road, and even if we're going, listen, we're going to go to the same place,
Mm.
I will like, if they're going to make a right turn, I won't make that right turn with them
Yeah,
because it'll look like I'm following them. So I will just keep straight and then make the next right turn.
yeah, do that all the time. And it doesn't, I mean, it doesn't, I don't feel like it's a burden because honestly, because then I'm uncomfortable because I walk fast and I don't
Right,
want
me
to
too.
like,
Same.
I don't want to have to pace my walk. It's just, it's doing too much. We way off topic. But
Right.
what's your question for Act One?
Um. Oh yeah, I actually got two questions. I think you'll like them. So the first
Uh,
one is, do you have any spectator superstitions like when you're watching a game?
I wear Vikings gear for every Vikings game. Um,
Okay, it's pretty reasonable.
um, I don't miss a Vikings game. I wear gear during the game, and I have to post a score, win or lose. It's just a tradition. So
Okay, I
I go
definitely
on
noticed
Instagram
that.
and post a score. So
Yeah, I've noticed that.
you
Um, yeah, I got a few. If it's a close game, I stand up
okay?
until the game's over. Um,
Getting your dad
I,
on.
I do the switching channels thing. Like if we're like losing bad, I'll just like change channel, like watch a movie in between, and I'll go back. Like if we're starting, I'll check the score on my phone. I'll be like, okay, we're coming back. All right, let me go back. If we start losing again, I'll go back to the like I'll do that. What else? If I have a bad feeling about a game, I'll wait like halfway through the first quarter before I even think about watching or checking the score. Like if I just have a weird feeling about the game, something like that, I won't watch it at first. Or like if I plan to go somewhere to watch a game and I have a bad feeling about the game, then I won't go to watch the game there. I'll sit and watch like the first half at my house, and then I'll go at halftime and go to where I'm going to go to watch the game.
I can't. I don't watch Vikings games in public. I don't like.
Yeah, I can't certain games I can't watch in public.
I am a very measured person. I allow myself
Yeah,
one like a thing that makes me crazy, and it's the
that's
Vikings.
where you go
So
crazy.
correct. So I don't like to be in public for that,
Well, shit, you
especially a
saw
high
me at
stakes
the
game.
yeah, for sure. Like you saw me when I was watching the Commanders Lions game. I was like, let me get out of here before I fight one of these people.
Yeah, fair enough.
Um so I got one other question for you. Um for Act One. I think you like this one because I know you read a lot. What remember the scene where he's reading the Hemingway book and he's
Yeah,
like, "What the fuck?" and he chucks it out the window?
yeah.
Have you ever read a book that made you feel like throwing it out the window at the end?
Um, um, like one, a book can break that window. Two, The Fault in Our Stars. Have you read that book?
No, I heard it was about cancer. I didn't. I was like, I'm
Yeah, it's
good on
about some cancer
that.
kids.
Yeah,
Man, there's so throughout the whole movie, you know how the doctor asks you what's your pain on like a scale of 1 to 10. Um,
yeah,
and so this is a spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, the movie's 15 years old. So
yeah.
two cancer kids, the boy cancer kid dies, right?
Hmm.
And she says throughout the movie, you know, doctors say, "What's your pain, 1 to 10?" And she said that her oncologists have always told her, you know, save your 10 because you know this is you know you don't want to. We have to be able to scale this thing. To you
Right,
know, if everything's a 10, then nothing's a 10, right? And
right.
so her little boyfriend died, and she was like, "I saved my 10 for this. This is my 10." I was like, "Thug down." I was like, oh man, woo, that was a tough one. That was a tough one. I was like, man, because it just you don't see it coming. It's just like a pat, you know,
Yeah,
it's a common, like it's just a common saying. Everyone's been to a doctor. What's your scale on a scale of 1 to 10? And she's like,
yeah.
your doctor say, you know, save your 10. And then she, at the end of that book, when the old boy died, and she was like dealing with the funeral or whatever, she was like, I've had some bad days, but this is my 10. I saved my 10 for this. And I was like,
Mm, yeah,
that was rough. That was rough. You want to go to Act Two?
yeah. Let's go to Act Two.
Uh, all right. Act Two, an unlikely proposition. Pat meets Tiffany Maxwell, a recently widowed and equally troubled woman. She offers to help him communicate with his wife if he partners with her in a local dance competition, forging an unexpected and complicated connection. Let me just say off the rip, they met at a dinner party. Pat shows up in jeans and a jersey, and everyone's like, "You wore a jersey to the party." Let me just say, Pat was the most normally dressed person at this party. Why the fuck am I wearing a suit to
What
your crib for a
to
dinner?
dinner? I'm what the
No,
fuck?
you don't get to say this often in the movie. Pat was the most normal person in that room.
Yeah, he was. He was.
I didn't understand that at all. Like what he was dressed for the occasion, even if I don't really wear jerseys anymore. But like,
Right.
dude opens the door. The first thing I said when he opens the door is, "Why is he wearing a tie?" Like what?
Yeah.
And
Also,
then we get
tell
in the
me if you're
room.
gonna wear a tie.
Also, why am I wearing a tie to your house to have some fucking bland chicken and mashed potatoes? Like I don't.
Yeah, that's true. Like we're not
I'm
going to
good.
the theater afterwards. I
Yeah,
don't, what do
like
I need to dress up
we're
for?
not going to Broadway. We're not going out.
Yeah,
I'm going to
and
your
I'm
crib and
also
eating and coming home. Like,
I feel you, and I'm big on not dressing up for no reason personally. Like you look nice, say you want to look nice, whatever.
yeah.
But like if it's some simple shit like that, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna dress up for
Now,
that.
I'm not gonna look crazy. I'm not showing up to your house in sweatpants, but I'm not wearing no fucking
Right,
suit to
right.
come eat at dinner at your house. Like, no, get the fuck out of here. Um, off the
Felt that.
a quick question, just some observation. How small was this town? Why was there one cop just following him around? This
Right,
cop
like
has
oh,
nothing better to do. I,
you got to argue, you got
this
to
is
argue with your
Philadelphia.
parents, yo.
This is a pretty busy city, and we can
It's a
dedicate
busy
one
city,
police officer to
and
follow this dude
and I,
around.
and I'm pretty sure, I haven't done the metrics on this, but I'm pretty sure there's other crimes you could be solving.
He could post up on Kensington Ave and get way more bang for his buck as a
Yeah,
police
right.
officer.
Just walk on Broad Street after 8 p.m. What are you
Yeah,
doing?
like it's just I kept looking. It's the same cop. I'm like, he had nothing better to do.
Right, like
Like,
every time I scream, you got to come around.
yeah, I mean, Pat's a little crazy, but damn, he don't need a police officer assigned specifically to him. That's a
Yeah,
little
he
much. That's
really
a little
wasn't that.
much.
It ain't like he wasn't really a threat to people. Like you know what I'm saying.
It depends on how you categorize threat.
Well,
I mean, this is an act one, but I kind of cut it from the question because I figured like it could be its own segment. When he
yeah,
threw the book out the window and
yeah,
he ain't put his hands on his mama, but his
yeah. That
dad
was
had
more
to
of an
hem him
accident.
up.
Yeah.
I remember the first time my dad had to hem me up. There's a difference when your dad says "yo mama," when your mom becomes my wife, you in
Yeah,
trouble,
yeah,
buddy.
yeah, 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 man. Oh yeah.
I never forget the first time he was like, "Don't talk to my wife like that." I was like, "Whoa."
Yeah, I remember one
I
time,
didn't even know she
and
was your wife. I thought she was my
right,
mom.
I forgot y'all was married. I didn't even.
It was a different tone in that voice. I got
Right.
hemmed up that night, man. Never again.
The same that happened to me too. Was my mom was mad at me for something, and it was like something simple, like something I didn't clean up, whatever. And then, but I was mad at her for being mad at me. And then we got like my cousin's like graduation pictures in the mail or something like that. But I didn't know what she was looking at. She was like, "Oh, y'all look," and I just said in my breath, "Who cares?" And my dad heard me. That
Don't
was one
mess.
of the worst whoopings I ever got.
Yeah, I mean, it's why like don't mess with a man's wife applies to his children too.
Children too.
Man, man, I again that tone went from because I mean, literally 99% of the time it was like talk to your mama. Your mom's over there. Your mom's over there. That night it was my wife. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, oh. It was a different tone. I ain't used to that one. What you got for Act Two, man?
I didn't know y'all was married, sir. I'm sorry.
We could bring a whole segment out of
Um,
that, like the time we tried to step to our dad and found out what grown man strength was.
right.
Anyways, what you got for Act Two?
That's like all of high school for me.
Uh,
For Act Two. Oh yeah, so I think speaking of like the awkward humor, that's probably the worst double date slash blind date I think I've ever seen.
they
Where
were bonding over psych medication.
yeah, they're like, yo, Xanax fucked me up, dog. I got cracked.
Clonazepam.
Like,
Woo!
woo. My eyes were just gone.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? I found it charming. I did.
I did too. I did too.
You know, how many people can they have a real in-depth
Real
conversation about
conversation
what
about
psych
that.
meds they're on? So
Right.
I
And by the
found it
way,
interesting.
you set them up on purpose, so you had to have known that that was a possible, that was what that was going to look like.
Yeah, I mean,
They're two very eccentric people, you know.
to put it mildly. To put it mildly, very eccentric people.
They're two very unhealed people.
Right in the throes of the worst
The
experiences of
worst
their
times of
lives.
their life. Yeah.
Because her husband's death wasn't 6 months old, right?
No, I don't think
Wasn't
so.
even six
No.
weeks old.
I think it was more than 6 weeks, but it was less than a year, I'm pretty sure.
And he just got out the bin.
Yeah. So his whole divorce thing is 8 months ago, so that's less than a year.
Yeah,
You
they
know.
fresh them some fresh wounds.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, that But they were cute together. I like
Yeah.
their witty banter and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
I love a good montage, a
Um,
little dancing montage. That was like, I enjoyed that. It was good. So
Me too, me too. I also one dynamic I liked about their relationship a lot was that I think a lot of times when we talk about like love and romance, it's always like, oh, you complete me, you were the missing piece, this, that, and the third. It's always alluding to something that was missing. But I think for Tiffany and for Pat, Tiffany specifically was more of a mirror for him,
yeah.
where she kind of was everything. They were similar, but in a weird way, she was everything he wasn't in terms of how she dealt with um her problems and how she accepted herself. He didn't accept himself. Like remember where he was in the therapy session, he was saying that she told him, "I accept all the sloppy, nasty parts of myself. Can you say the same for yourself?" And it was a good question because the therapist was like, "Well, can you?" And he called it like my crazy sad shit. And it's like I think sometimes accepting the bad things it makes them less bad. Obviously, in this situation, take your meds and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of it was him repressing so much that's why he would explode the way he did.
I agree. I agree. Um, I lost my train of thought. Take it.
um, Oh yes, I also just want to say, well, Bradley Cooper is one of my favorite actors. I think he's like super slept on. Star is Born is one of my favorite movies of all time. And I think him and Jennifer Lawrence in this movie were their chemistry was fantastic. Their
Yeah.
acting was like otherworldly. The stuff she does, like just with her face and her eyes and her body language, like you can't teach that kind of shit. Like she's like different.
Just like the dancing scenes, it was just the right amount of awkward where,
Yep.
you could see why she enjoyed it because she was good and like he was learning and like,
Hmm.
he played a crazy person, but he played it in a realistic way. And it
Correct.
was honestly, I went into it not knowing who either. Well, this time I watched it, but when I originally watched it in 2012, I didn't really know either of these
Right.
people. I knew
Yeah.
Bradley Cooper from Hangover, which is just
Hangover.
you know acting, but not in a this way. And I was blown away.
Right.
So I love this movie. So
Me too.
um, speaking of family dealing with you know the family dealing with his bipolar disorder, was it?
Yeah.
It was topical because today or this week's New York Times Modern Love podcast and or
Hmm.
essay was about this lady who's dealing with her brother who has schizophrenia, and
Hmm.
I'll link it in the show notes and I'll put it in the pod. But people should check it out. It was a very interesting podcast. And there's a accompanying article that goes with it. She just picks
Okay.
her brother up from a trip abroad, Germany. She's picking him up from the airport, and she just notices that he's just not there, and she just talks about
Mm,
the challenges of basically he can't care for himself, he can't hold down a job, like the meds just make him like not
right.
crazy, but like there's this belief that if you take the meds and you're normal, and that's often not the case. So just a
Correct.
little footnote, people should check it out. I'm off the Twitter narcotics, so I am into other stuff, so like that's something that I checked out this week. Was pretty good. So.
Okay. Yeah, that's one thing I did actually forgot to bring up. People think like it's like, oh, just as simple as just like take the pill and you'll be fine. But the the pills, a lot of times they may fix the problem,
Yeah.
but they like cause other problems. Like a lot of times that people do get foggy, they gain a lot of weight, they sleep a lot, they're less alert, stuff like that.
It's a
Like a
very
lot of
inexact
creative people,
science.
right?
It's not.
And a lot of it is trial and error.
Yeah, yeah. It's just we are barely further along than we were when we put people in straitjackets and padded rooms,
Right.
which is not a bad alternative. It's like it worked. Got these people off the streets. Like as far as like making society productive, it worked. It sucked for them, but like whatever.
Right.
Um, so
Um,
State of Silence worked. They did.
that yeah, that's true. That's true.
What else you got for
What
Act
was I
Two?
gonna say? Uh, oh yeah. So I think one thing that was very clear too was like they talked about his bipolar disorder and like he had like great mood swings and he could also be prone to extreme paranoia. I was gonna say
Yeah.
paranoid thoughts. I don't know if that's a word or not, but
It is not.
um
Paranoia is the word we're looking for.
paranoid, whatever. We put it in the dictionary today.
Yeah. You're crazy at
Nah.
the North Pole. You're paranoid in a Nordic country. We're gonna blend that to paranoid Nordic.
That's what when the Vikings they get real weird.
Yeah. There you go.
Um, I thought it was. like the it was I don't want to say insane, but it was really like shocking how much in denial he was about his marriage,
Yeah.
where he was having the argument with Tiffany, where
Yeah.
she's like, explain like this whole great love affair that you have with your wife, like explain to me why you love her so much, what you love about her, and everything he listed was like everything you should never say about a partner. Like where he's like, we'd go 2 weeks without talking, but people do that. It's like that's not healthy. And he was like, yeah, we try to change each other. Everyone does that. That's not a good thing. Like
So what do
it,
you think happened? Do you think she married him before he became symptomatic and then she just didn't want to deal with it anymore? Because she
I
clearly didn't
think
like he couldn't have been this way when he got married. It's just not. I mean, I'll just ask you, what do you think?
I, given
Because
what I
a lot of
know
mental
about,
illnesses don't start showing into your early 20s. It's not terribly uncommon to
mhm.
not have symptoms until you're an adult.
Well, I think the thing too, that's true, but I think we aren't aware of what mental illness exactly is until we
Yeah.
are an adult. Like we kind of
Yeah.
like I think about like again, like I said, I have a strong history of mental health
Mhm.
issues in my family, and when I was little, there were things that people did or said, and I that were weird or
Yeah.
inappropriate or whatever. But you just kind of laugh it off. Oh, that's just crazy, such and such, or they're just da 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 whatever. But then as you grow up and you get older, you're like that was not normal being like that was they shouldn't have been
Yeah.
really, some people shouldn't have been at the family function, you know what I'm saying, or shit like that. Um, so I think part of it is they probably got married young,
Yeah.
and so she probably had a limited scope on mental illness, mental health,
Yeah.
and then also, or just how bad you are, and also again, when you're not, when you're married or in a relationship, you can't hide anymore. Like I
No.
think he probably tried to hide it as best he could, and then at some point, the mask falls off. So I think he probably got worse, but I also think he probably got worse at hiding it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, obviously, it's not a light switch. You don't flip it and become symptomatic. But I think,
Right.
you know, it's quirky at first, and then,
Yeah.
the
Like
symptoms
she
get
probably
more
thought it was
pronounced.
cute.
The symptoms get more pronounced, and it's not what she signed up for.
Right.
Now she could have handled it better than fucking another man in his house, but
At his fucking job, yeah.
yeah, so that's bad. That's bad, but I do empathize with her in the sense that that's probably not what she
Yeah, it
signed up
couldn't have been
for
easy for
because
sure. Um,
he's never going to be able to live alone. He's going to require some
yeah.
sort of adult care for the rest of his life, and I don't even think he's 30
Hmm.
years old in this movie, so it's a long
Right.
time, you know.
True. Yeah, that's very true. Um, oh yeah, so when his brother comes into town or into the movie,
Yeah,
and you kind of even so we talked about kind of his childhood. Remember when he came home from the hospital, his parents took his picture down.
I did not, I didn't notice
So
that, but
they had two photos, and they took his picture down, but they kept his brother's up. And I'm
okay,
assuming that dynamic was existed throughout their childhood.
yeah.
And then when their brother comes into the house and he's like, "Hey man, like what I don't know what to say, man. Sorry I didn't go to see you at the hospital. I'm making partner. I'm getting engaged. I'm getting a house. You lost your house." Like he's just saying all this weird shit, and it's like, yo, his brother was his biggest hater.
Well, I mean, what's there to hate on? He's got
But
grippy
that's what's
socks.
crazy.
His
That's
wife
what's
left him and he has
crazy.
grippy socks. I think I'll say this. It's when you he's a brother with this shit together, right?
Right.
And there's a certain burden that comes with.
Correct.
And
It's called the glass
oftentimes,
sibling.
yeah, and like oftentimes everyone has a limited amount of attention, right? And
Right.
so given, like you said earlier, Bradley Cooper's character's symptoms probably made him a more like they weren't as pronounced, but they probably made
Right.
him a more hands-on child that's they require more hands-on
He was
parenting,
a more
right?
maintenance, higher
Right.
maintenance
So
child.
there
Yes.
could be some resentment there when you're the kid with this shit together and you sort
Right.
of like raise yourself almost. You're kind of like the kid that doesn't need you do your homework. You don't need help with your homework. You make sure your
Right.
assignments are straight. You get up early in the morning. You kind of
Hmm.
but you know those when you get the short end of the stick that often,
Yeah.
it can breed resentment. And then you come home and yeah, it's like you look at him and you're like, all you are a burden on mom and dad. Like
Right.
I'm the one that's gonna have to pay for whatever home we put them in. I'm the one that's gonna have to
Hmm.
pay for, you know, dad's gambling issues that you're encouraging or whatever. And it's just like
Right.
I it's like Terry from Soul Food. Like people call her the villain of the movie, and
Right.
I look at her and I'm like, she's the only one who like who's a fucking functioning member of society in his fucking dysfunctional ass family.
Right.
So no, I mean, look, obviously
That's very true. That's a
you
good
shouldn't
point.
say that to your brother about, losing his
Just got
house and
out of a
everything like
home.
that. But I can
Yeah.
definitely understand where he's coming from in the sense that, like, when you're the kid with this shit together, you
Hmm.
kind of get you kind of you carry
The
that
short end
burden,
of the stick.
short
Yeah.
of the attention stick, and you carry the burden of responsibility that because no one else is grabbing it. So,
Right.
you ready to get in Act Three?
Yeah.
All right. Act three, gonna call it Dancing Through the Storm. As Pat and Tiffany train, their bond deepens amidst family pressures and personal struggles. The dance competition becomes a catalyst for self-discovery and a chance for both to find their own version of a silver lining. First observation, a little bit of bad writing, plot hole. There's no way he would have been able to dance to Stevie Wonder's "Don't You Worry About a Thing." It would have triggered the same things as My Sharia Moore. So something I noticed.
Oh,
He would not have been able to list. I mean, that's like literally the main song in their dance, and he would have
right.
vetoed the fuck out of that. Because I mean, even if he didn't know that was a Stevie Wonder song, he'd have noticed the voices. Are they
That's true.
similar? And I think
That's
honestly,
true.
I think it's on the same album, so it's like literally the same
Yeah,
sound, the same
I
series,
believe it is.
songs
Yeah.
in the key of life. I think, but
Right. Yep.
little bad writing there. I'm
Yeah, they're
like,
on the
he
same
wouldn't have
album.
been
You're
able
right.
to
They're on the
dance to
same
another
album.
Stevie Wonder song.
Yeah, they're on the same album. You're right.
We can fact check that, but yes, a little bit there. So, what you got for Act Three?
For Act Three, I wanted to talk about. Oh, yeah. So I wanted to ask you because so they for the listeners slash viewers, um, he wants to obviously we know he wants to get his wife back. One way he decides to do that is befriending this girl's Tiffany.
Yeah.
At one point she decides to like stop hanging out with him because she's like, people always ask things of me and I'm kind of left empty. What are you gonna do for me, or are you willing to do anything for me? So he says, okay, I'll help you with anything. She says there's a dance competition, be my dance partner. He agrees to do that. And then in exchange, he's supposed to give a letter to his wife, Nikki, on the sneak because it's violating the restraining order. So I wanted to ask you.
Which still probably violates the restraining order.
Oh yeah, 100%. So I wanted to ask you, do you think she was ever gonna give Tiffany or Nikki the letter?
No. I think that she had a little crush on Buddy, and that was her way to once she needed a training partner. I think the dancing kept her mind off her uh husband.
Yeah.
And she lied. I think she lied, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, I think so too. I think
Yeah.
she needed to say whatever she would to spend time with him. She obviously was into him pretty much from the moment they met, I think.
Yeah.
Well, shit, she was set up to they were
They
set
were a
up and she
cute
was in
couple.
on it. She knew
They were
it.
a cute
They were
couple.
a lovely couple, yeah, for sure. Um okay, so they go to the football game and those racist guys start the shit with the therapist and his friends, which is weird because y'all rooting for the same team. It's
That's
the
called
dumbest thing ever.
alcohol. They're
Well,
just
yeah,
drunk.
true.
You ever been to a pro football tailgate?
Not yet. I don't think so.
Dude, or I guess college football too. I've never been to a college football one,
Yeah,
but dude, these people start drinking at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and they're
true.
lit by kickoff,
And
lit.
it's Philly, and they're Eagles fans.
And like drink, not drinking, drinking. Like they
Right.
start at 8, and it's just like boozes in your coffee, boozes in your drink. You got a beer in your hand the whole time, and yeah,
Yeah,
they be fighting each other in the parking lot, man. They
that's
ain't
facts.
got to
That's
matter. It
true.
don't matter what jersey they got on.
Didn't you tell me a story about when you were in Philly and they were
Yeah.
like, "Yo, change your Vikings gear"?
Yeah, I was in Philly for work on a work trip, and it was the weekend that the Vikings played Philadelphia at an NFC Championship game. So
Hmm.
this would have been 2018. Yeah, 2018. And I traveled a lot for work at the time, so I just had a suitcase
Yeah.
that kind of almost pre. I had I had a system, t-shirts, drawers, and socks because you need those regardless. So enough for that trip. One pair of jeans because I was gonna be gone for 2 days. Like one pair of jeans, and then I need
Hmm.
my suit for work, and then put a tie in there, and then just a whole system, and then a hoodie. And I just threw a Vikings hoodie in there, not thinking of it. Because the
Yeah.
game was Sunday, and I traveled Wednesday. Like I'm not even into football mode until the weekend, right? And so get off the plane, hop into a bar, grab a beer and a burger, and the bartender like taps me. He's like, "Hey man, I don't think you're you in town for the game?" And I'm like, "No, I'm just in town for work. I'm in and out. I'll be gone third tomorrow night." And he was like, "Listen, man, I'm just telling you, you really shouldn't wear that jersey walking around down here. These people are crazy. And he was like, it
Yeah,
was like a legit like because this is Wednesday, so I
yeah,
literally dropped my bags off, check into the hotel. I'm in a hoodie because it's fucking cold, and walk down the street bar, burger and beer, and he's just like, "Listen, man, you out of town,
yeah,
so I'm gonna let you know. Like, you're probably cool here because whatever, but like." If you're staying to the weekend, honestly, I probably wouldn't even wear it tomorrow. Just like if you got something else to wear, you should wear it because I don't think you're safe. I was like, I respect it. That I mean, I didn't stop wearing it, but it was like he didn't seem like he was playing. He was dead ass.
no, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it's true. They're serious about their football in Philadelphia. Shout out Wawa.
um, so the brawl happens. They all the cops take him home, which I'm sure happens all the time at Eagles games, and and you just kind of further see like his dad's addiction issues, where he's like, "No, fuck that, double or nothing. Like I'll give you 10 points on the Eagles," which is insane because that team was not great back then. And then the dude, what was his friend's name? Tommy, I think his name was, who was the Giants slash Cowboys fan, and
I
he's
just
like.
he was just generic Cowboy. I think it was a Giants fan.
Yeah, and he's like, "All right, well, I'll tell you what, give me 5 points on." I think he said, "Give me 5 points on the Eagles, and then they got to get a five on their dance competition as a parlay to, and then we'll settle up. You'll get you buy your restaurant, open your restaurant up, whatever. If not, we'll settle up with the cash." Um, and then they have that argument. Nikki comes in there and storms in there, and she's like, he blames her for bucking up the juju with the Eagle shit, and she's like, "No, he was with me all those days that any Philly team beat any team ever in sports." And they realize, oh shit, like she's kind of his good luck charm, which I guess is a signifier that maybe they're meant to be.
or these people have
Also,
gambling addictions.
well, that too, because why do you know that? Who the
Yeah.
fuck? How do you know that? If you're just a girl who hates sports. Um, and then Pat's like, no, I'm not going to do this. Then his parents say, no, we got to tell him Nikki's going to be there. That's the only way he'll do the competition, which is just all kinds of fucked up.
Yeah, it's true.
Um, and then so they kind of train and do the competition. I'll say this: I was surprised she actually did show up. I didn't think she would go to that. I assumed she was scared to death of him and wanted nothing more to do than get out of that marriage. Nikki,
Yeah,
I mean,
again, little bit of
Baho,
a you have a restraining order.
right?
Where that part I wasn't crazy about.
Yeah.
I just didn't think we needed any Nikki in the movie outside of the scene where, you know,
Hmm.
it just like this was not a movie about her. She's
Right.
entitled to
Correct.
leave. The affair was foul play, but you're entitled to get a divorce. That's fine. It's your right.
Right.
But this was not a movie about you. I just didn't need her in the movie. I wasn't
I
really
feel you.
feeling it much at all. So great dance routine though.
Yeah, they were good. They were
Yeah, they were
good.
pretty good.
And that thing where he like propelled her where her legs were on his shoulder, like that shit is not easy at
No,
all. Like
hell no.
they had to be they had to be in insane shape to do
Yeah.
that. Um,
They were pretty good though. So
although I will say, granted, I'm not dancing is not really my strength. I have rhythm, but I can't just like do shit on the fly. I got to know what the dance is to do it. The second I walked in there and saw those other dancers in those outfits, I'd have dropped out of the contest. I'd be like, there's no way in hell. Dude, they look professionals, like they look like Dancing with the Stars. And I was like, nah, I'm not taking that L.
I don't
Costing
dance at
my dad
all.
thousands of
So
dollars.
it just I wouldn't have done any of that. So uh I concur. I
Okay, so let me ask you this then. Is there any celebrity that you would train to dance for? Like if like whoever your biggest celebrity crush is, if they asked you to like train and do a dance routine with them, would you do it?
yeah,
Like if
Glorilla.
Glorilla asked you, if
Yes.
yeah.
Not even close. Yes. I would embarrass myself for Glorilla. I would. Not even close. Please respond to me. That's all. That's all. Please talk to me.
Hey, for the listeners, yo, dead ass this nigga be on Twitter every day, like, hi.
Everything she posts, I'm like, hello. I want to say hi. That's
Hello.
all. That's all. I'm so serious.
Very
I'm
simple yet effective pickup line.
yeah, man. If she likes you high as enough,
No, I'm
men
not mad at you.
wreck themselves trying
Nah,
to come
that's
up with
facts. I'm not
crazy
mad at you,
lines.
man.
If she likes you high as enough. What
That's
else you
that's a
got for Act
fact.
Three?
Yeah, because if if Halle Bailey ever sees this, hi. Um, um, oh yeah, so they don't win the competition. They get their five score average out from the judges. But then Pat goes up to Nikki and he has some sort of conversation with her. We don't ever hear what the conversation is. We only ever just see him kind of whisper in her ear, and then he shakes her hand, holds her hand, and then he walks away. But as that happens, Jennifer Lawrence's character, she like cries and storms out of the place and runs away. And his dad comes up to him and he's like, "Son, do not fuck this up." He's like, "I know I fucked up a lot of things in your life, but do not fuck this up. That girl loves you. Maybe Nikki did love you one time, but she doesn't love you like this girl has ever loved you." So he kind of gives him tells him to go after her, which he does, and he gives her the letter. Um, and she's like, I don't need another letter because she thinks it's for him to give to Nikki.
Yeah.
And she opens the letter up, and it's a letter to Tiffany, Hudson. Wow, Jennifer Lawrence's character, and he just confesses his love for her and basically apologizes for not realizing it sooner and not, I guess, not getting over his wife sooner, I guess, for her. Which I thought was really cool. And then they, get together. Fast forward. Hold on, what I miss? What I miss? What I miss?
I'll tell you offline.
All right, all right. So then they cut to like their kind of final scene in the movie where they're cuddled up on the couch and stuff. And if you notice, they're no longer wearing their wedding rings, which I thought was a really nice touch.
I did too. I thought that was pretty good as well. The movie stuck the landing. You gotta
Yeah.
appreciate that. This is wild off topic, but
Yeah.
I was reading what was I? I don't think I was actually reading something like last week about
Hmm.
IVF embryo selection for genes. And they
Hmm.
actually, I mean, it's very expensive and it's the technology is in its nascent days, but you
Yeah,
can
it's
actually
crazy expensive.
select, you can select, you get a whole bunch of like prospective eggs or whatever, and you can
Hmm.
like screen it for defects and mental illnesses and like bipolar
Hmm.
disorder and schizophrenia.
Yeah.
Would you ever screen your kid for genetic defects if you could? Like if you could just they gave you like, okay, you got 10 samples here.
Hmm.
Would you just take a random one, or would you like want to know the odds of each one and like pick? Would you screen your kid? Would you screen an embryo for genetic makeup if you
I've
could?
actually
If it was
it's
$0?
yeah. It's funny you say that because I've actually had this conversation with significant others or with a significant other before. Um, I personally, I mean, if you could screen for it, that's one thing. On principle, I don't think I would because if you say you're going to be a parent, then you sign up for being a parent, whatever that looks like, however that child comes out. Um, your parent as a job, your parent is to love that child unconditionally,
Yeah,
and I feel like that kind of goes against that that idea to do that, if that
yeah,
makes sense.
I agree.
Like
Do do you do you
I've
think an
heard someone say
embryo is a
like,
child?
hmm,
Because the argument would be one
yeah,
is not. It's not that I don't love the child unconditionally. It's just that like
right,
if I can say if I can pick an embryo that's like if someone's telling me okay
yeah,
this egg is has a 70% chance of developing ALS. Does it
hmm,
make you, which is just an incurable, horrible disease?
right,
Is it playing God to just say, I want to pick this egg that doesn't have that 70% chance? It's just like that's the moral dilemma. It's
yeah,
like I think it gets
right,
hairy when you're screening for like uncomfortable things or like things that are just like you're screening for height or like
yeah.
genetic
That's the thing. It's
predisposition for high
if
cholesterol, but like fatal illnesses, that's a different conversation.
correct. So yes, so that you're right. That is a different conversation. Like for example, the conversation I had with a significant other was she said more or less said that she would rather like if she could she I don't want to do this. I'll put it this way. She would rather not have a child than have a child who had a certain like a mental capacity.
Okay.
And for me, that's more so like, well, that's something that you take the risk of when you have a child. Like that's not, like if ALS, okay, that's one thing, you know what I'm saying? But like say there's just, maybe a developmental delay
Yeah.
or Down syndrome and or autism, something like that. Um that's to me that's different than,
That's fair.
some incurable thing.
So your answer is you would take a random set of like a you would not select for anything. There's no
Anything's
right
a
or wrong
strong word.
answer. It's
Yeah,
actually
no,
a
I
very
understand. Yeah, I'm
strong,
trying
it's
to
like
think.
a
Yeah.
very contested argument in
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
scientific ethics.
I think if it's something that really would is like just a give my child a poor quality of life, then I would choose against it.
Is a
But if it's
developmental
something
delay a poor quality of life? I would say so.
that I mean, it depends on the again, it's all a spectrum, so it depends on you know, the severity of it, I guess.
It's I do. There's also the issue of perfect can be the enemy of good because like, are we screening out Albert Einstein because he had some? I mean, he had some sort of
He had a speech
autism,
impediment. He couldn't
right?
speak till he was 4.
So like, you
Right.
know,
Exactly. Like you
you
just don't
know,
know.
like he's not popular right now, but like Kanye West is crazy than a motherfucker. Are we screening him out and never getting that music?
Right.
Like it's I don't. This is probably against my priors. If you've listened to me
Hmm.
before, you probably think I'd be for IVF in embryo selection. I'm not. I think
Hmm.
the human species is. I think we don't. I don't think we know enough about to make these calls, and I definitely don't think the average person does.
Yeah.
The average person's a
Hell
moron.
no. And it feels
So
too
like
much like breeding. I mean, I don't mean
it
breeding like
is.
biologically, but breeding like, you know what I mean?
It is
Um,
breeding. I mean, but like the bananas that are we have right now are not the bananas that are in the wild when we discovered them. We bred them to be that way. So there,
that's true.
it's not all bad, but like I just
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know what we don't know, and
Right.
you could be you screen the entire population to get rid of one genetic defect, and you might be removing something that's actually important. You don't know.
Correct. Yeah.
And like, if we obviously ALS is horrible, Alzheimer's is
Hmm.
horrible, a litany of cancers are horrible. But
Right.
if you're screening, because if one person screens for it, eventually all people will screen for it. And if you screen
Yeah.
all of those genetic markers out of our entire population, I don't want to, like, you don't actually know what that means. We don't know enough about what that
We
will
don't.
mean.
We don't.
So that
And
is,
again, it's and then it bleeds into like, okay, so let's say at first it's just we'll screen that out, right? And then it's like, okay, well then let's just screen out like ADD and ADHD. Let's make people more efficient. Then it's
yeah.
let's screen out bipolar disorder,
Let's screen out
depression,
every
anxiety.
male that's going to be under 6 feet tall.
Right,
Let's,
exactly. It just
like,
you're never going to stop. Like humans don't stop anything. Like
um,
you only look for the next course of action. So I just don't think that's a good idea personally.
let's land that plane. Oh, ratings. What do you rate it?
Um, I love this movie, man. I love watching it every time I see it. It's still to me it's aged really well, considering the topic matter subject matter. I would give it. Yeah, I'm gonna give it 5 stars. I love this movie, man.
Wow, five.
I really love this movie. I
Yeah.
think it's a dope portrayal of um love and mental health slash mental illness, and I like that it doesn't cater to this idea now in the society where like you have to be like we say healed, come healed. A lot of times we mean come perfect. And I like that this movie doesn't do that.
I'm going with a four. I love this movie. All the actors, all the performances are great.
Yeah.
We got one of our last good Robert De Niro performances before he started mailing it in.
Yep.
Jennifer Lawrence on the scene, Bradley Cooper on the scene, Chris Tucker was perfect in his cameos. I give it four
Hmm.
stars. All right. Thanks for listening. My name is Darius. That's D's all up in your area on all socials.
And I'm Jordan. Jordan be writing on all socials.
Please rate, like, subscribe. We are Moviegoers Pod on all socials. That is Moviegoers PD on Twitter. That is PD on Twitter.
And for any ongoing movie recommendations, you guys can reach out to us via email at moviegoerspod@gmail.com. That's moviegoerspod@gmail.com. Thanks for coming to the movies with us. We'll be back with a great episode next week. We're going to be reviewing American Fiction. And that's a wrap.